Salmon Wellington, but technically it's not salmon Wellington, it's salmon on croute, but salmon on croute tends to be really flat and like this, and I'm going to make it more like that, which is like Wellington, so I'm going to call it salmon Wellington. So ingredients we've got are the salmon, obviously, we need the salmon. I've got Parma ham, I've got dill, lemon, capers, cream cheese and spinach. I've also got the pastry, that's still in the fridge, you've got to keep it cool. First thing to do is just quickly blanch the spinach. Oops. So boiling water and literally 10 seconds or so. That'll do. And then into ice cold water, and that just stops them cooking. Right, next thing is just to just lift that out. I'm just going to drain it, squeeze out as much of the water as we can. So for the next part, I'm going to use the food processor. You could use a stick blender to do it just as well. So I'm going to add cream cheese. And the spinach that we've just squeezed out. And we'll just give it, shouldn't take much at all. That'll do. And then we'll just put that straight in the fridge. So we'll start to put this together. So first thing is the Parma ham. And we're just gonna lay this. What I've done is I've laid down 2 strips of cling film. So I always go bigger than you think you need, because otherwise you end up with little tails that you can't twist at the end. So always put down more than you think. So if you think about the size of the salmon is about that long. So I've got 1 inch or 2 either end bigger, which is spot on. Just make sure you overlap the ham. You don't want any gaps in there, because this is going to create like a barrier between the cheese and the pastry. 2 types of Parma ham. Flatten that all out, and then our cream cheese and spinach. Just whack that in the middle of there. And then new spatula from ProCook. Awesome. Spread it all out. I don't want a really thick layer of this. I think that would be too much. Probably want to be like 1/4 of an inch or something around the fish. That'll do. Nice spatula. Then, oh, not that, capers. I've just roughly chopped the capers and then just even sort of amount. Lemon zest. And then the fish. Right, when you're laying the fish, you want to try and get a sort of an even, in the end what I'm trying to do is get it in a cylinder. So I'm going to try and sort of position the pieces, thinking about that, think, right, what's going to sort of form. What I've actually done is I split the fillet, the side right down the middle, and then I've cut it into the 3. So I've ended up with 6 pieces. Right, I think that's going to be about right. One more thing, nearly forgot. The dill. So I've just chopped this finely. I've taken out the stalks because they can be quite sort of chunky, the stalks on dill. So that'll do. What I should have done was put that onto the cheese first, but never mind. It'll work absolutely perfect. Right, now carefully just lift cling film up. I don't want any air in this. I'm trying to get it as tight as I can. We'll bring that round. That's good. I'm just losing the ham there. Right, so by squeezing like that and then getting that over, that's it. Right, just get the air, push the air out of the cling film. And because I'm trying to get this cylinder shape, and then just roll that, and as you roll it, it'll tighten up and you'll get a nice cylinder. That's perfect. Then that'll just sit in the fridge, and it wants to sit for a good half an hour because I want this just to firm up a little bit. It's going to make it easier to work with the pastry. You could even put it in the freezer for maybe 15 minutes. That'll do the same thing. Right, so that's chilled nicely. It's half an hour in the fridge, example. You know, if you're going to put it in the freezer, you don't want to freeze it because when you come to cook it, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. Right, so pastry. I'm just using store-bought puff pastry. And again, more cling film. So we'll just unwrap the salmon carefully. I'm gonna find the end. Where's the end? There we go. See, now it's chilled. It's not too bad to work with. Right, we'll find that's going to be the top there. So I'll just bring the pastry around, nice and tight, no air pockets. And then I'm just going to cut off the excess because I don't want a thick layer of pastry. I just want like a little bit to overlap. So I'm just going to cut off don't cut through the other layer of pastry. And then a little bit of egg wash. Well, I just use yolk and egg yolk and milk. I can actually just run it down this edge as well, actually. Just should have done first. This is just going to help seal the ends. That back. So nice and tight. Right, because my pastry is it's not normally what I would do is fold. If I've got more pastry, I will fold it down and actually fold it at the bottom. But because I've only just got enough, all I'm going to do is just pull it into the end like that. Just get rid of all the air. Right, that's good. And then the same as before, cling film round, and we just roll that round. Squeeze the ends, getting the air out of the cling film, and then we just roll it up again. Just trying to get our cylinder shape back. This time when you're letting it sit, because you will get a little bit of a flat on the bottom, so if you make sure the seam is at the bottom, tuck them under, and then we're going to rest it in the fridge again another half an hour. And what you can do, which I've done before, when it's in the fridge, if you actually sit something each side of it, something flat, you're going to get more of a cylinder, you're going to get flatter ends on it. Might be a little bit tricky in your fridge, but it'll be worth it because then you get a fuller end. You don't get that big domed end, so you can get nicer slices out of it. So while the salmon is chilling, what we're going to do is prepare the decoration for the pastry. And I've never tried this one before, so bear with me. Should work though, should work. So what's that? A 2-inch cutter. And I'm using store-bought pastry again, but what I've done is just rolled it a little bit thinner, so it's maybe 2/3 the thickness of store-bought. And what we're going to do is just cut, basically I'm cutting scales, and then we're going to layer them on. So we'll do a straight line across. Then I'll just move up. We'll try and get them fairly equal sized. It's quite a special dish, so making it look the part and taste the part is important. So there we go, our scales. Half scales you can use, so don't chuck them away. I'm just going to lay these onto parchment paper so they're ready to lay onto the pastry. It may seem a lot of work, but once you get going, it's actually quite quick. And well worth it, I think. Right, so I've taken that out of the fridge, and you can see that the ends, what did I have? I had a cheese advent calendar this side, and a carton of milk this side. So it stayed nice and square on the ends. It just means when you take that first slice off, which is always the sort of waste piece, there's less of it. Right, now carefully unwrap, take off the cling film. Where are we at? And we get the seam side to the bottom. Right, that's good. I mean, it's not a perfect cylinder, but it's a nice shape. Right, egg wash the whole thing. Not too much, thin layer. Ends aren't important, but I always do anyway. That'll do. Right, then we take our scales and we're just going to start one end, this end. And we'll just work, do a line. You don't have to worry about the end because we're cutting that off. We'll just work across. Straight line. Take your time on this bit because it's nice to get it looking good. And then we'll go with the next one and we're just overlapping that first row, just that little bit. Of course, you don't have to do this. You could score it with the back of a knife, do something decorative, but to me, this sort of makes sense. It's fish. I think I overestimated the amount of scales I was going to need, but that's fine. Just make sure they're all pressed down. And then just a nice, again, a thin coat. You don't need loads of egg wash on there. Because what you find, it'll build up in the little gaps and just looks a little bit ugly, not as sharp looking. Right, that's great. Didn't miss any bits. Right, a little bit of flaky salt. Right, so that's going to go in the oven at 180 degrees C, which is lower than you would with a beef Wellington, because beef Wellington is going to be like a medium rare, whereas the salmon wants to be pretty much cooked through. So 180 degrees. And for around about 30 to 40 minutes. But after sort of 25 minutes, I'm going to check the temperature. I'm looking for around about 45 degrees, because then that's C, because when it comes out of the oven, it's then going to rest and the temperature will increase. It'll carry on cooking inside. So it should be absolutely perfect, because I just want the middle wants to be just cooked. If anything, just slightly under. Right, so that is now done. It's actually had just under 50 minutes. and it's 46 degrees. So, and what I'm going to do now is transfer this to a cooling rack, and it's going to sit for 10-15 minutes. So in that time the temperature will go up, and hopefully we've got perfectly cooked fish in the middle. So while the salmon's resting, I'm just going to make a quick sauce, and it's similar to a beurre blanc, but I'm using cream and a bit more cream. You can put cream in a beurre blanc, but so we start with some finely chopped shallots. And then I'm going to add about that much wine, because that's all I've got. And then a splash of white wine vinegar. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to reduce that by about a third, even to a half. I'm just going to reduce it down. Right, so then I'm going to add cream, double cream, which if you're doing a beurre blanc, you can add a little bit of cream because it just stops the butter splitting, but you wouldn't add that much. So there's probably another French name for this sauce, but and then we're going to add the butter. So as all the butter's melted, you'll start to feel it'll start to thicken a little bit. But we'll carry on cooking this for another 5 to 10 minutes, which just gives the salmon perfect time to rest. Just going to add a touch of salt. Right, so that's about ready now. You start to see the thickness. If you just run your spatula across, you can just about get the whole way across. So that's about the right thickness. We'll turn that off. And you've got a choice now, really. I like to strain the sauce, but you could just leave the shallots in there. But to me, a nice smooth sauce suits what we're doing. I mean, this is not a crazy flavorful sauce, it just helps complement the salmon. Right, let's go into it and see what we've got. Oops, that's... Yeah, that's cooked absolutely spot on. It's nice and moist, cooked right through, and you can see just a slight hint of darkness in the middle, which is exactly right. Yeah, very happy with that. So I'm just serving that with some green beans and nice little these stacked potatoes. I'll do another recipe to show you them, but they're super nice, just cooked in butter, a little bit of salt and pepper, nice easy one. Then we've got the sauce that we just made. Don't need a lot of sauce because the fish is nice and moist. Good enough to eat. I'm going to eat it in a minute. So I hope you give this one a go. It's not too difficult. You know, it's not like scary like a beef Wellington, which I'm going to do in a couple of days. So watch out for that one. Subscribe. Like the video if you liked it. And we'll see you next time for more just good food.